What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, Duel commentary. We've got Bing, 1149 rating as for this duel, and I am willing to oblige. And Barbosa, 68, 1186 rating. So both ratings are, I mean, they're fairly close together. You've got maybe like 30 points or so. Let's see. Barbosa looks to be playing Evilswarm. That's the only deck that I know that will open like that. It's probably the only deck right now that runs Rabbit. Now, if we get like 3 Rabbits like the OCG has, look for that to change immediately. He attacks into a Street Patrol, and Bing has 1 set. If he's playing Infernity, it's almost strange to see the deck not go off and kind of stall on its first turn. Going first with Infernity is like a godsend. We're going to see how much Barbosa can put in front of him, obviously, to stop him from attempting to go off. I would say Infestation Pandemic it's okay against Infernity down the line because, you know, it will stop 1 break, but that's after they go off, you know what I mean? And that's assuming they don't E-Knight your field and just clear the entire board out. So Bing just set 1, and now I'm almost wondering if he's not playing Infernity because it's very rare you see them set twice in a row. I mean, it could be Necromancer, but I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of, or Eris. So Ophion attacks. Okay, it's another Street Patrol. So, I mean, if he has monsters in his hand, for the most part, he should almost certainly be able to clear them out. With double Necromancer, that's 2 special summons, plus your normal summon, plus the fact that pretty much the entire deck is filled with monsters like Monk and, you know, 10 Goldfish and Dark Grepher that can get other cards out of your hand. So either they can help you special summon monsters, or they can just get other monsters. A lot of people play Kage. I've seen Photon Thrasher played in Infernity. Just monsters that let you special summon, so that if you open with, you know, 4 monsters in your opening hand, you can basically like still go off and set all your back row and, you know, soul charge everything the fuck back. So Bing's looking at his extra deck. I mean, against this back row, I mean, against this field of Ophion plus, you know, this dude, I mean, Exciton Knight seems like the obvious choice. Okay, so he soul charges for 2. Now, if Barbosa had a bottomless, that would be super clutch. Because you talk about not only would you stop the Exceed, but you'd get rid of both Street Patrol in the process. Like, I would consider that basically like a +1. Oh my god, he had the bottomless. I mean, I'm going to consider that, oh, okay, he wiretaps it. I was going to actually consider that like a +1.5. Because you get 2,000 light points, you get rid of both Street Patrols, and your opponent can't attack. So that's like, I know that it's technically a 1-for-1, but just as far as momentum, it's like a +5. I mean, a +1.5. So Bing goes into Exciton Knight, and that falls into a Blackhorn. You wonder, oh, never mind. Bing scoops it up. And Barbosa just had the perfect outs there. Bottomless, which Bottomless stops the 2. You know, Bottomless stops both of the monsters hitting board, the Street Patrols, and then to have the Black Horn after that, it's like, I mean, that's just too good. Interesting. Soul Charge only a $2 card. Wow. Now, I think I said before, I really like Blackhorn and Evilswarm because outside of like the hand monsters, people can still struggle to get over Ophion. I'm not talking about, you know, I'm not talking about, you know, I'm not talking about attacking over him. I'm just talking about a lot of the decks right now are really built from small monsters, and then they exceed into bigger ones. So if your opponent can't exceed into big monsters, they're going to struggle to get over Ophion. You know, yeah, there are a couple of decks like Boojins and Fire Fist where they have like, you know, easy outs. I mean, Yamato, you can just attack and go Honest, or attack and go Crane, or pop it with Quillen. Fire Fist Bear, obviously, just gets the job done. But just in general, to me, it seems like decks struggle. Like Infernity would struggle, Gear would struggle. You know, a lot of decks have to waste a lot of cards on it. Alright, so Bing starts out with a more traditional play for the Infernity deck. He summons Armageddon Knight. And I would say it's like, I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of things they dump with Getty Knight. They dump Street Patrol. Sometimes they dump Archfiend. Sometimes they dump Eris. And I think those are the main 3. Is Eris, Street Patrol, and Archfiend. And then he completely walls up, but he doesn't seem to have a way of getting his monsters back. Now, he might have Soul Charge. He might just want his Armageddon Knight to die. And You see that Barbosa summons Rescue Rabbit again, and Thing obviously has some type of response. On the summon, he's going to use something. Oh my god, are we seeing Infernity artifacts? I did not know this was a thing. So on the summon of Rabbit, he's obviously going to bring out Muratek. No, he doesn't bring out Muratek. He brings out MegaCapitalG. Okay, so maybe he has a Muratek set. He does. Okay, so he has a Muratek set, and no DD Crows for Barbosa. Maybe. Okay, nope, no DD Crows. He already put his Rabbit in the graveyard, so he already knew what the deal was. And he sets 1, 2. Just 2. You know, I think if I was being here, I think I attack with everybody, and then, I think I'd make Tyrus. I don't think that I would make. I think I would make Tyrus. I don't think that I would make Pelides, because Evilswarm. I'd make Tyrus because I want protection from Bottomless Trap Hole. All right, so he doesn't exceed at all. Okay, wait. I'm sorry. He's in main phase 2. He's considering it. I definitely would not even consider Zamayo. He does not exceed. And you know, all he needs right now is one like attack stopper or one monster stopper. Alright, so he throws down a Thunderbird. Good, I guess Thunderbird's good because it does run over something, but if your opponent has a response, you know, you can bounce with Thunderbird, but then it just attacks over. Now, I wonder why Barbosa attacked over the Armageddon Knight instead of MegaCapitalG. It seems like you'd want to stop your opponent from exceeding unless you're blatantly saying, I want you to exceed, which it kind of seems like he did. He kind of seems like he's saying, hey, I want you to exceed into my Black Horn or my Solemn Warning. That's why I left you with another level 5 instead of the Armageddon Knight. Because both monsters had the same attack value, so there'd be like literally no reason to kill Getty Knight over killing MegaCapitalG unless you had a way of stopping him in Exceed Summon, which it kind of seemed like he telegraphed that. Like, I don't know. I guess there wasn't much of a choice. Even if he would have attacked MegaCapitalG, it's not like his opponent wouldn't have just went attack with Armageddon Knight and MegaCapitalG. So now I'm looking at this matchup, and it should be really in Barbosa's favor if he goes first, because Ophion just stops all the artifacts. Now, unless Bing obviously sides out the artifacts, then, I mean, what can you do? But you're talking about a card in Ophion that should essentially do nothing to Infernity to now just being excellent against it. With that being said, artifacts are still just an amazing engine. So you see that Barbosa is going to open up with Heliotrope and Caster. Obviously, use Caster to get that second summon. Now, obviously, I think you're going to go for Ophion. And I feel like as long as he has protection from like an Exoton Knight or a 101, I feel like he's good. So Barbosa's going to trigger Barbosa's going to trigger the effect. He detaches Caster, and he gets himself the Pandemic Virus, which I don't know. I mean, we kind of expected Bing to be, you know, all Infernitied out, and you know, I was thinking, okay, every time you get a Pandemic Virus, that basically cancels out a Infernity break, but we haven't even seen Infernity break, and it's been 3 games, so it's like, you know, this is going. I mean, well, we had 2 full games, and we haven't seen an Infernity monster yet. So you know what? I guess I should stop saying Infernity. Right now, it's just Dark Artifacts. So Ophion attacks for 2550. He gets it in. And if I'm Barbosa, I'm not committing anything else to the field. I am perfectly content to continue attacking with Ophion until you show me something that would threaten my Ophion, or until you show me a reason to summon something else. I haven't seen any hand monsters or anything. Okay, so there's our first Infernity monster. Game 3, 2 turns in, and we see our first Infernity monster. That's incredible, right? And especially considering Infernity dominated Game 2 and did it without a single Infernity card. Now, here's the problem if you're Bing. Even though Infernity isn't a deck that historically runs Breakthrough Skill, even if you had it, you couldn't negate Ophion the first time. Like the first time, he would obviously chain Pandemic Virus. And then after that, knowing that you had Breakthrough Skill in the graveyard, he'd probably detach anyway and then try and activate its effect to get another Pandemic Virus because he knows he's going to probably lose the protection because you're going to negate it from the graveyard. So Breakthrough Skill doesn't even help, and that's not a card I don't even think you play. So I'm just trying to count outs for him that Infernity would have. And right now, it seems like he really needs to get to a rank 4 XC, probably like 101. Well, yeah, 101 because he has too many back row to go exit time. The problem is, what have we seen from Barbosa? What is there to make you believe that this dude doesn't have, you know, doesn't have a Blackhorn, doesn't have a Bottomless, doesn't have potentially a Torrential, which, you know, he'd be able to chain the Pandemic Virus. So he attempts to summon Armageddon Knight, and he uses Fiendish Chain prematurely, and that brings out Wiretap. I think Barbosa knew that his opponent had a Wiretap, because I was thinking that, and I was like, the chances are, with 5 back row, he might have a Wiretap. He showed us a Wiretap, I believe, in game 1 or 2. I think it was game 1, and he dumps Archfiend in there, so maybe he's holding on to a Soul Charge, or he might have one set. Okay, it was the last card in hand. Here's where the game starts for Bing. He will lose or win the game based on this. Alright, so his Soul Charge got warninged. And that's, I don't know. He can actually activate another one because the activation of that card was negated. But if that was his last hopes and dreams, then, I mean, he might just be fucked. Because it's not like he got a lot out of his Armageddon Knight anyway. I don't really think that... I thought, obviously, that whatever he dumped, he was going to try and special summon back. Because he couldn't dump Eris, because all that would have done is gotten an Archfiend, but he didn't have a way of summoning Archfiend, so it wouldn't have made, like, any difference. Had he had, like, I don't know, a Street Patrol in there, I think he goes for Eris. Now, having no monsters, I mean, it was wise of Barbosa to use the Fiendish Chain, because he baited out a Wiretap so that he could obviously use his power card, Solemn Warning, you know, in case his opponent had, like, a better play. Now, you see Infernity break, tries to go after the back row, and it's Mirror Force, a card that I'm just going to say Barbosa's not even going to need. So, if I'm Barbosa, I'm happy, because I probably wasn't going to use that Mirror Force anyway during this game. As a card that it's historically just awful against Infernity. I mean, I can't really think of a time where they go all in as far as attack mode and they don't have some type of, like, answer. I mean, I'm talking about not just the obvious barrier, but I mean, they can make 101 and all types of stuff. So anyways, he summons Rescue Rabbit. Bing scoops it up. He may have had some artifacts in his back row that he couldn't trigger, and that's unfortunate for him, because Barbosa is showing that he had Bottomless, he had Vanity's Emptiness, and I just don't see a way around that. Thank you guys for watching, as always.